Before we begin, I would like to note that Journey Continues Podcast is a nonpartisan platform, and the views expressed by our guests are their own and do not constitute an endorsement. Welcome to the Journey Continues Podcast. I am your host, Tamisha Little. Journey Continues Podcast is a nonpartisan community based platform dedicated to recovery, behavioral health, advocacy, civic engagement, and uplifting voices that inspire hope and positive change. Our mission is to amplify voices, connect communities to resources, and provide meaningful conversations that educate, inform, and inspire. Through our candidate interview series, we seek to provide residents with an opportunity to hear directly from those seeking public office so that the voters can make informed decisions. Today, we are honored to welcome Mayor Byron Nolen, candidate for U.S. Congress representing Michigan's 12th Congressional District. Mayor Nolen, thank you for taking the time to join us and share your vision for the communities you hope to serve.
All right. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today.
For those listeners who may not be familiar with you, please introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background, your public service experience, and what inspired you to run for Congress.
My background, I'm just a kid from Inkster who grew up. My mom was a retired school teacher. My dad was a retired Army veteran and worked at Ford Motor Company for 36 years. Grew up in the community. I was really doing public service when I was a teenager, just because my parents had me active in that as well as sports. Graduated from high school from Wayne Memorial High School, and I went on to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. I had a great experience up there, studied political science. Graduated from University of Michigan Ann Arbor, and then I taught school for a year, and then I went on to University of Detroit Mercy Law School. Went there full time for 3 years, graduated, and then I taught school at Detroit Public Schools for a year while I was waiting on my bar exam results. And then once I got those back, I started practicing law, and I've been an attorney for the last 30 years.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and experiences. We're going to dive right into our first question. As you speak with residents throughout Michigan's 12th Congressional District, what concerns are you hearing most often, and how would you work to address them if elected?
Yeah, what I'm hearing when I'm on people's porches is just that they're not making it. People financially are not making it right now. The cost of groceries have went up 17%. Obviously, the cost of gas has went up as a result of the war with Iran. Um, and people are struggling financially. They're just struggling. I'm feeling it myself. When I go to the grocery store and I swipe the card, pretty much buy the same amount of stuff, and it costs quite a bit more than it used to cost. And I'm just concerned that it'll never go the opposite direction. Usually, when prices rise, they don't go back. Uh, so I'm concerned about that and whether people can just take care of their day-to-day needs. So that's what I'm hearing when I'm standing on the porch. People saying, "What can you do?" And when I'm running to be one of 435 people. So of course you can do nothing by yourself, but you have to be able to forge those relationships and get with like-minded people to try to move the needle forward and improve the quality of life for the people that you represent.
Yes, I believe we all feeling the pinch at the gas stations and um, going to get groceries. Economic stability is important to many families in our communities. So let's talk about jobs and opportunities.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I think in a lot of our communities, Detroit, well, the district is made up of 13 different communities and it's very diverse. So different communities need different things. I think we have Northwest Detroit, Dearborn, Dearborn Heights, Inkster, Westland, Garden City, Livonia, Redford, Southfield Lathrop, Bingham Farms, Franklin, and Beverly Hills. So that's a lot of different communities and two different counties. But in communities like Detroit and Inkster and Redford, we need some workforce development training. We need to provide opportunities for that next generation coming behind us to learn the skills for the jobs that are available today. Everybody's not going to go to a 4-year college, but we also need to fund education and give those kids the opportunity to go. But the kids who decide they don't want to go on to college, they have to be given an opportunity to learn skilled trades and different things, maybe some things in the arts, different certifications and trainings, so they can take care of themselves and their families and actually make a living wage where they can live a good life.
Thank you. Many families continue to face financial challenges. What policies or initiatives would you support to strengthen economic opportunities and improve quality of life for residents of the 12th Congressional District?
Well, the small things is obviously we have a lot of tariffs on goods, everyday goods right now. If you can get it, if the Democrats can take over the House and maybe even the Senate, maybe we could have enough leverage to get some of those tariffs revoked. That would help immediately. I think a longer term goal would be universal health care. I think if we provided everybody with access to health care, um, it would take small businesses and even small cities like my city, like we wouldn't have to pay. We pay $12,000 or $13,000 a year per employee. So I could turn around, and if I could save that money as a city, I could pay that, put that back into their salaries to make life more affordable for my employees. Because very rarely do you get that big of a raise in one lump sum. But that'd be something we can do, and we could also possibly hire additional employees based on the money we're saving that we're not spending on healthcare. So that's one, and that's a large thing. Of course, that's going to take some time and cooperation because you're talking about eliminating the healthcare insurance industry, and everybody's not going to be happy about that. So that's going to be a heavy lift, but that's something I think we can do as a country because there's so many other countries that are doing it, and they're running it successful. It's not perfect, but it's better than folks being out there without healthcare or access to healthcare.
Small businesses are vital to our communities. How would you support entrepreneurs, workforce development, and job creation throughout the district?
Yeah, I think I love some of the things they've done in other areas, like in Ipsy and Ann Arbor, they have Spark, which is a business incubator. So you can take people who start their businesses in their homes, most people do, and then you can help them grow and scale up. So hopefully they can buy brick and mortar if they need that, or we have a lot of businesses in our community, food businesses. People are buying food trucks, and that's a great model because you don't have to be in one space. You can be at a different location every day and maximize, your profits and your sales. But I do definitely access to capital for small businesses is what I hear. A couple people in my family and actually my friends own small businesses, and they seem to have a hard time getting access to capital, even when they do everything the right way. When their credit is good and they own actually buildings. For especially Black business owners, it's hard to get access to capital, and basically they get frustrated, shut down, and they can't grow their business. So we have to free up some money for that, and make sure that they're being funded because we can't grow. We don't have an economic base in our communities. We'll never have the political power and the economic power that we need to have in order to sustain ourselves.
Education remains a top priority for many families. So I'd like to shift our discussion to our schools and young people. What role should the federal government play in supporting public education and improving outcomes for students in Michigan's 12th Congressional District?
Wow, that's a big question. I think the federal government certainly we look to them for funding for our public schools. I think there's been a war on public schools for the last maybe 10 years or so. I think the first Trump administration, I think Betsy DeVos was Secretary of Education. And basically, she was a charter school proponent and private school proponent. And I think they put her in that place to destroy public schools. Um, and she would like to see people's taxpayer money be returned to the families, and they can send their kids to private school. And we know who's that's going to affect the most. Um, and so I think the federal government should ensure that public schools stay public and that all federal funds go to public schools. If you have a private school, then you need to fund that yourself, any by tuition or other means of raising that money. But our public tax dollars should fund our public school system. Um, Trying to think. Second part of your question was how else can they support? I think I like what some of the things I see in the public schools with the programs where you can get your associate's degree in high school. I think that is excellent. And it saves families a lot of money when their kids can graduate from high school with an associate's degree. That knocks 2 years off of college tuition, room and board. I think that's a great program. And but we still have to support our public universities, even the colleges. Donald Trump's had some different policies where they basically are telling schools they have to do certain things in order to continue to get federal funding. They had to eliminate DEI and things of that nature, and that should not be done at our public universities. Colleges where you go to learn about different things, diversity, learn about different people, and broaden your horizon. So we shouldn't be making it more narrow and monolithic. We should make it broader and open to everybody, so we can have those experiences. So we can change some policy on that level to make sure that public universities are getting the funding they need. Also,
At Journey Continues Podcast, we place a strong emphasis on recovery, behavioral health, and community wellness. Substance use disorders and mental health challenges continue to affect many individuals and families. What role should Congress play in expanding access to behavioral health, prevention, treatment, and recovery support services?
wow, I think they have to ensure that. I mean, obviously, if we had universal health care, that would help. But make sure the resources are there for the programs that are already in place to help people in their recovery. I mean, in my community, we have 33% of the people live below the poverty line. We have a lot of people who go to prison and come back into the community, and a lot of people who are suffering from addiction. Um, and we have a lot of resources available for them. A lot of mom and pop businesses, counseling businesses, and things of that nature. But it's not enough. I mean, it's just frankly not enough. I go to other communities and see methadone clinics and different things that are helping people. And then the more affluent communities don't want those things in their community, but the need is there to help the people. So it just comes down to taking care of your own folks. And for a lot of times it comes down to resources. You got to fund these nonprofit organizations that are providing healthcare and counseling services. And we have to have a place for people. We have to eliminate homeless somehow. And I know it's not easy to do. It's easy to say, it's not easy to do. I visited San Francisco not too long ago and the West Coast. And to see it out there because they have warmer weather, you see it, it's more right in your face. People are living on the streets. And that's not good for them. That's not good for the community. It's bad our way around. But no one's come up with the actual solution. How do we take care of our folks who need our help? Because we have a responsibility to take care of the vulnerable folks, people who have disabilities, people who have health issues. We have to carry them as society. Now we need to figure out how to best do that and what's the most efficient way and best way to make that happen.
Thank you. Many individuals returning from incarceration face barriers to housing, employment, and healthcare. What federal policies or programs would you support to promote successful reentry and reduce recidivism?
Yeah, maybe we can pass some federal legislation to stop landlords from discriminating against folks who've been incarcerated. Even job opportunities after a certain length of time. Should it even be considered what you did in your past? Because we've all have done different things in our past. Some criminal, some not criminal. It should not bar you from getting employment for the rest of your life. So maybe we can look at some federal legislation to put a time period on background checks, or limit the scope of background checks to maybe violent crimes or something where people were actually harmed, so folks can pursue their careers and still look for employment if they have different type of crimes, or after 3 4 5 years it falls off their record all the way around. That would be some way we can attack that, but it's definitely something I see in my community all the time. Because if you put them in a bad situation where they can't get employment, how are they supposed to take care of themselves? And I think it kind of pushes people back to the life of crime that they just came from. Um, and we've had that problem for a long time, but I haven't heard anybody on the federal level talking about addressing that, and seeing what we can do as community.
If you were elected, how would your office collaborate with the nonprofits, the recovering community, to assure that the vital services are
Mhm.
accessible.
Absolutely. I mean, we should probably get together, put a committee together with the nonprofits, some government officials, and come up with a plan. We need a plan how we're going to attack this, find out what we need in resources so I can go and get those resources and advocate on behalf of the people in my district.
Mayor Nolen, many of our listeners are individuals and families impacted by addiction, mental health challenges, or reentry. I recently spoke with a woman living in transitional housing who wanted to vote in the last mayoral election, but believed she couldn't because the address on her identification was different from where she was temporarily living. What would you say to individuals who believe barriers like that prevent them from voting? And what message of hope or encouragement would you like to share with them?
I mean, I get it all the time, especially talking to folks saying, "Hey, I don't vote. It doesn't matter." Like you said, they lost hope and they lost any faith in the political system. If you look at what's going on the national and state level and local levels, corruption. I mean, all the way down from the president all the way down. This is crazy. You know, the president's net worth has tripled in the last year and a half. You know, that's not by accident. Um, you know, and I can understand why people would unplug, but then they don't see if we don't vote, we won't have a voice. And even politicians, you know, it's a business for them. You know, they cater to the cities and the communities that vote for them. You know, and if we choose to sit it out, we will not get the resources and things we need because we won't be important to them because we don't vote. And it's hard to try to get that message across. There should be no election that goes by that you don't vote. I mean, none, because you can vote by absentee. You can vote now 14 days before the election. That means you anytime you want to during the day, stop by like in our city, stop by City Hall and you vote 14 days before the election. There's no excuse or reason not to vote. Um, and then when you vote for somebody you bought in, now you have leverage. Hey, look, these are the things I would like to see in my community. I would like to keep an open dialogue open with you. And if you don't do that, I won't vote for you next time. And that's the way it's supposed to work, you know. And if you get people together and you bring a group of people, you have even more power. And that's what I'm trying to tell folks in my community and the surrounding communities. We have to vote. It's a shame that we don't have black representation in Congress for the city of Detroit, which they tell me is the biggest black city in the country. That doesn't make any sense. Now I understand how the city was split. So the 12th district has half the city and the 13th have half the city. I think that's by design and a lot of times because Detroit is the heartbeat of the state of Michigan. But nevertheless, we should have two black representatives because we're the largest group in both districts. Um, but we don't vote at the highest percentage or the highest rate. And so therefore, we have to go to others who are not part of our community necessarily and ask for things to represent us, to tell them how we feel and how we see the world, where we have our opportunity to represent someone from our own community who knows how we feel, who knows because they're feeling the same thing. And we have to take advantage of that. We were spoiled for so long. My entire life, John Conyers was my congressman. I like my entire life until recently. So, you know, you kind of get used to that or spoiled. And now we have different folks representatives representing us, and I think we need to be comfortable with who's representative and make sure that they're advocating for us and not for some other causes that may be important, but not necessarily the most important thing to us.
I agree. Access to affordable health care remains a concern for many families. What steps would you take in Congress to improve access to quality, affordable health care for residents throughout the district?
I think the first thing we probably have to do is not allow medical insurance companies to donate towards campaign candidacies or people who run for office because it's going to be difficult changing our system and improving it when there's so much money involved. I mean, that's a huge, huge industry. We know the cost of medical care goes up every single year, and it's never going to stop. So we would have to stop getting that money coming into the political system in order to have an honest conversation on how we need to have universal health care or Medicare for all. There's different terms for it now, but we've been talking about this since Obama did his Obamacare years ago, ACA. We're talking about whether we should go to single payer. They called it single payer back then. And I've visited several countries, Canada, Brazil, European countries, where they have it. And again, some people complain about wait times and different things. Canada, same thing, but they have healthcare coverage, and if it's an emergency, they can go to the hospital and get treated, and they don't have to worry about being bankrupt afterwards. So um, I think it's going to take a heavy lift to get that across the finish line, but I think it's doable because I don't see what the argument against it is unless you have an interest in the healthcare insurance industry. Other than that, it benefits everybody. And I think things like that we should be able to get done if everybody in the country benefits from.
Public service often requires collaboration across differing viewpoints. Congress requires collaboration across different perspectives. How would you work with colleagues who may hold differing viewpoints to ensure the needs of residents in Michigan's 12th congressional district are met?
I think the first thing we have to do is, elected officials get hate out of our heart. Because somebody's conservative or MAGA or Republican does not make me hate them. They see the world differently. They identify with a different party than I identify with. But the bottom line is we were sent there to get things done for the people that we represent. And there's a lot of things I think we have in common. If we're in the same, making around the same amount of money or living in the same neighborhood, we're in the same boat, whether you're Republican or Democrat. We understand it's a money game. While the rich are getting richer, we stand here squabbling about what we look like. You look different from me. I don't like you. You don't like me. All that's crazy. Um, so I can work with anybody. I'm not walking in judging anybody. You are what you are. It's not my job to make you something different, but it is my job to work with you to get something done for the people that we represent. So I've been doing that all my life. As an attorney, people come to you and they have a problem. You have to solve the problem for them or assist them in navigating the system to solve the problem. Same thing as mayor. Everybody in my city has my phone number. If they have a problem, they call me, whether it's has something to do with being the mayor or not. And my job as being part of this community and being mayor is to try to help them whenever I can. So that's what I do, and that's what I would continue to do. But I can work with anybody. I get along with everybody, and I think that's what we're missing right now. We got all these brands. You're a democratic socialist. You're a progressive. You're a moderate. You're whatever. I don't care. I don't care about Bernie Sanders, whether he endorsed you. It doesn't make me any difference. Can we get some stuff done together is the only thing I care about. And if you can't help me get that, then I have no time for you.
And the main objective is
Period. Well, for some people it's about the brand. I
right.
want to have a brand. I want to be known for this. Then I can go into talk shows and get paid, and I can write a book. I'm not writing a book. You won't even see me take. I won't even be taking a selfie on social media. That's not my speed. I'm trying to get some stuff done for the people. When I'm not effective, then let's let somebody else do it. That's what we should be about. It's just us. I am committed to us.
As we begin to wrap up our conversation, what final message would you like to leave with the residents of Michigan's 12th Congressional District and the listeners of the Journey Continues podcast?
I just think our district needs a representative who's going to represent every neighborhood, every city, and every constituent in the district. Someone who's going to support Democratic candidates who share the same values as we do. If I'm elected, that's exactly what I'm going to do because I am committed to us. And if you would like to follow my campaign, you can follow me on Facebook at Nolen for Congress or my website, nolenforcongress.com. Spell Nolen, the number for Congress. And I just want to thank you for having me on today. I appreciate a few minutes to talk to your listeners and tell them a little bit about myself.
Mayor Byron Nolen, thank you for joining us today and for sharing your vision for Michigan's 12th Congressional District. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Journey Continues podcast. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe this episode. Until next time, continue your journey with hope, resilience, and purpose.